Testing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to AD2L Season 45. Group stage between The Last of Us and Savage Sabres. Team Beef Bomber versus Team Graphics. This is the... I've done AD2L before, I believe. But I had to get used to the format starting off this season. And done a little bit of research on these teams, so we will have that for this evening. And let's take a look at bands here. Last of Us starting off with Phoenix and Legion Commander.
5 seconds remain.
I'm guessing Legion is targeting Shrewd. They've only played 9 games of it in the last 12 months, 32% win rate, so not the greatest win rate. It might be that they're looking for, or looking to pick some kind of hero that doesn't want to deal with the disable from Legion. Phoenix played a lot by Roxy World, also not a very high win rate. And right now, it seems like these are mostly just player bans. I don't think a lot of these heroes are very meta. First pick coming out from Savage Sabres is going to be Lich. It's likely going to be a graphics hero. Likely in the pause 5 role. Lich is a strong laning hero, very simple to execute. You just spam Q over and over in lane. In team fights, you drop that big ultimate. You give the frost armor to whatever hero is getting focused down. It does open you up to heroes that do damage outside of right-clicking as counters, such as like Muerta or Odie. But there's not a lot of them versus Lich. Lich is a pretty stable first pick overall. Pugna comes out. It's a nice little counter to Lich. You drop that Nether Ward on the ground. Lich doesn't have the greatest mana pool and can kill himself quite quickly. It's likely going to be Pork Chop on either the 4 or the 5 roll. Pork Chop has played it 50-50 between safe and offlane. So I'm not sure exactly where the players are going to be laning until we go into game. I have like a basic idea, so I'm curious to see where they end up. On Last of Us especially, the players are pretty mixed in terms of what roles they play. And we go into second ban phase. Savage Sabres going to be banning out Primal and Odie. Odie is one of those heroes, yeah, that goes through the Lich Frost Armor. It's a hero that doesn't want to play into Pugna, so they might just be banning it because they don't have the Pugna counterpick for it. Last of Us goes Juggernaut. Juggernaut is one of Winx's heroes. Winx plays quite a few different pause 1s. I'm pretty sure Winx like only plays pause 1. I'm pretty sure he's the one for this team. But heroes like Morphling and Nature's Prophet and PA are more like traditional classic Winx. Generally, when you're playing into Pugna, you want to be banning out heroes that like to go Nullifier, because you want to go Nullifier on a carry against that Pugna. Just making sure my is still good. Yeah, we're still good. Okay. Last of Us taking a little bit of time here, thinking about how they want to open up the second pick phase. Pugna can be a good lane partner. You generally want to pair it with something that's magic damage for the core role. They go with Lion, and that's likely going to be Old Man's hero on that pause for Lion. Lion, just a stable support. Gives you quite a bit of burst damage in the early game to focus down priority heroes. Good laning phase. And nice magic damage here that you can pair with that Pugna, with that Decrep magic game. So if you're Savage Sabres, you see the support pairing most likely. So you get to pick your cores based off of that. Versus Lion, you generally want somebody that either doesn't care about mana or something that can get away or break the mana very easily, like the mana drain. So heroes like a faster like Night Stalker, or just a big dumb hero like Bristleback, or like heroes that go Soul Ring. It's like Dawn, stuff like that. Savage Sabres picks up Snapfire. Snapfire was not popular until this last international, when Jin Q played it to great effect all the way to the grand finals. And Snapfire is just a very strong laning hero right now. All her abilities do lots of damage. Her E especially wins her the laning phase. You generally want to pick Snapfire with a stunner on your team, which is not the greatest setup for that, for Mortimer's Kisses, because Snap really likes it when he picks heroes like a Void or a Faceless Void or a Tide Hunter, stuff like that, like big AoE stuns where you can lock down heroes and apply those kisses reliably. Axe is a hero like that, so Snapfire Axe, good lane pairing. Snap's Cookie gives Axe the ability to initiate early on before Blink Dagger, because you can toss the Axe in on top of heroes. It's a very nice combo that's been powerful since the hero got released. Axe has fallen off in terms of popularity a little bit, but since the international, but he's still quite a powerful hero to pick here. Pugna kind of counters him, since Pugna can either decrypt the target he's working on or the Axe himself, ideally, and that prevents him from spinning, makes his Berserker's Call not that useful. And Axe generally likes going up against these like squishy support heroes like Lion and Pugna, because you're able to reliably burst them down. So far, pretty strong opening hand from Savage Sabres. Last of Us has a chance to respond, though. They see what the offlane is going to be. They get to pick a 1-2 counteract that. They go up to Mars. Start going into more meta territory here, as Mars was first ban, first pick in the international. And you don't have a ton of heroes to combo with it so far. The big thing is like Pugna Ward. First heroes that they try to use mana inside the arena while they're locked down, and then Pugna Q, Lion Stun. It's, you know, it's not like amazing pairing, but when you go with Pugna, you generally want to pick lockdown heroes, because the Mars, because the Pugna doesn't have any lockdown. Lion Mars itself is pretty decent. Mars has good disables, or that sucks, you can keep sucking them for long periods of time. Lion can also give Mars mana before that Soul Ring, so Mars will be able to spam nukes in the early game. Move the Pudge 4-pick. Alright. Last of Us. Trying to figure out where these heroes are going. I'm guessing that is a Juice Pudge, played in likely the position 1 role. Pudge generally just needs lockdown and stun to be able to do as much damage as possible, so he's got a good team for it thus far. Pugna works especially well with Pudge because Pudge does a lot of magic damage, and the slow from Decrypt makes it so Pudge can just stay on top of you with Rot. So I do like the lane pairings so far from The Last of Us. And Savage Sabres is going to respond with a Lifestealer, so that is a mistake by Last of Us to not ban that out, instead going for that Juggernaut. Because Lifestealer kind of counters this team pretty hard. Lifestealer is a one that likes to go Nullifier. He can Q off Decrep, he can get through the high HP of Pudge. He has a... this game he has an Axe he can go inside and use that to get into fights with that free Uber ride. And so this is gonna be a very strong Lifestealer game. But Last of Us' job this game is gonna have to be to shut down this Lifestealer as hard as possible. Going into the final phase of bans, Last of Us starts off, they go from Invoker, Savage Sabres bans out Medusa. And Savage Sabres probably doesn't know what this Pudge is going to be. I'm not 100% sure. Lynx also plays Pudge, actually,
Dire's
on that offlane 3 roll, so this could be like a mid or a 1 Mars. And a 3 Pudge. Kind of depends on how they want these lanes to go. Last of Us bans out 2 mids. Savage Sabres bans out 2 hard carries, and Savage Sabres is going to go with the Dawnbreaker. So, a mid Dawnbreaker, Gundam Dawn. I'm pretty sure actually, no, I haven't played against that. I think I've seen Gundam Dawn. He's pretty...
seconds.
They're pretty good on the hero. 61% win rate in the last 12 months across 47 games. It gives a lot of counter initiation for the arena. If the Pudge ever hooks something, or the Mars ever, or the Lion blinks on something, or the Mars ever arena something, you can always dawn in and extend the fight long enough for like snap cookies to start taking effect. You're trying to extend the fight as long as possible on Savage Sabres to make sure the Life Stealer, is doing what he needs to do to bring down these tanky heroes. And so that's a good final pick. I really like Savage Sabres' whole draft here. Last of Us running out of time. Savage Sabres thinks they are drafting a 1 here. Let's see what they go with. It's going to be Viper.
Your hero. Make the ultimate choice.
Not sure I'm a fan of the Viper. It feels like a knee-jerk reaction to the Lich and the Snapfire and wanting something good in lane versus the Dawn. Juice, who I thought was the 1, although he does play mid heroes, picks up the Viper. So I believe this is going to be a 1 or a 2 Viper. Lynx on the Mars. Lynx is likely the 3. Then on Savage Sabres team, we have Lumix, yep, Linux Dawnbreaker, Lynx on the 1 Life Stealer.
10 seconds remain.
And that's going to be Shrewd on the Axe 3. Curious to see where these heroes on Last of Us go. I'm not a huge fan of the Viper pick. I think they're trying to shut down this Dawn as much as possible to try and give themselves as much in the early game as possible. I mean, if you look at their draft, they don't really have a carry. Like, Viper is not so much of a carry past like 25 minutes. Pudge, it's a very niche carry. You can do a lot to amp the Pudge if you had like a Magnus or like a Darkseer to give those buffs to Pudge. But by itself, it's not the greatest carry. And Beef Farmer has Fresh Meat selected. If you're going carry Pudge, I think you want to go the other one. But we're going to see where this leads to. I guess one little combo is the Viper gives you that W. I think it's Nether Toxin. Not sure what it's called these days. But it does a lot of damage if heroes are stuck inside of it for a long period. And so you could drop that on whatever target Mars goes on and just do a ton of magic damage. That way I'm just worried because it's a magic damage hero picked into Life Stealer. And Life Stealer can just press Q and run away or run at you. So we're going to see if this game revolves around how good of a game the Life Stealer is having. Let me set up my camera real quick.
Prepare for battle.
There we go. All right.
The lesson for you is never try.
As I familiarize myself with the camera. All right. This looks like a mid Pudge build. Could be a 1 Pudge though. Not sure. Lumix says hi. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say hi back, Lumix. I'm not sure what the rules are for casters talking in game. I'm gonna go the safe route and just say hi in the stream. If I had to give an edge, I would say that Dire's draft, Savage Sabres, is better. Just on the fact that Radiant don't really have that much of a Lifestealer counter. The Viper gives him a little bit of kite, but Lifestealer is just going to gobble up this Pudge. Once he gets Nullifier, he's going to start eating this Pugna and whatever targets Pugna decreps. It's not going to be it's not going to be that pretty. If this game goes late, I think Dire wins it pretty handily. So it all depends on whether Radiant can win lanes and transition that to a good laning phase. Beef Farmer is going to be going for the bounty hook. Has no allies. That was quite bold of him. Or them. They go for that. Neither team smoked out a base. And just kind of a casual contesting of the rims. Okay, so Beef Farmer is going to be playing position 2 Pudge. Going up against Lumix / Gundam on that mid Dawn. In the bottom lane, we have Juice playing the Pause 1 Viper. Okay, so they want to shut this axe down as much as possible. That's the idea behind it. Going up with Pork Swap on the Pugna, position 5, I'm assuming. Not sure. Right now they have a tri-lane going on down here. Pudge is getting a little bit low. In this top lane. Looks like the Lion will be going top and helping out the Mars. Yeah, they should be bullying this Mars hero while his support is not in lane. Oh yeah, continuing on the instructions, it's going to be Lynx on the Pause 3 Mars, supported by Old Man on that Lion. They're playing against Winx on that position 1 Lifestealer, being supported by Graphics on that Lich. And bottom lane Shrewd Cleric on the Axe was paired up with Roxyrora on that meta Snapfire. Let's get last hits down. And I need to keep an eye on the minimap and the HP bars at the top, so bear with me if I sound a little distracted. It's a little bit hard to solo cast. Anyway, how I expect the lanes to go. Mars line, really solid lane. Lifestealer kind of just squats in lanes, so I don't expect him to be dying too often, even against a strong lane like that. But Lich, Lifestealer, they can definitely output some damage. Lich gives the slow for Lifestealer to be able to chase targets, just right-click them down, so I could see kills going on either way up there. In this mid lane, Pudge versus Dawnbreaker. As long as you're landing the hooks on Pudge, you tend to win lanes. Is Beef Farmer going to commit for this? No, backs up. May have been a mistake. He's going to take 3 tower shots on his way out of there, but gonna go south to get that water in. Top seems pretty static. Bottom lane Juice trying to bring down Roxyrora on that Snapfire, getting pretty low, but Roxy will be getting out of there. Actually, the Nether Ward plus the Battle Hunger getting Pugna very low, forced to use that wand. Does have a Fairy Fire though, so not in too much danger of dying. Meanwhile, top Mars getting bullied by that classic combo of slow plus Lifestealer. Blood Grenade gets the first blood for Graphics. And Winx is full HP. That's just kind of the nature of this hero. It's very hard to bully the Lifestealer out of lane. Especially if you're playing a big meaty boy like a Mars that you can chew on. Oh, Pugna gets to 2 HP. Actually holding on to that Fairy Fire, deciding not to use it. That is interesting. You flying out region, Pugna? Yeah, you are, Tangos. Alright. The 3s are suffering so far in this game in terms of CS. Beef Bomber trying to go for that kill on the mid, but unable to land the hook. And it looks like heroes have backed out from the side lane, so not a lot of fighting going on. I guess I didn't mention the bottom lane or how I expect it to go. Viper just tends to win lanes, or at least do pretty well in lanes. Especially paired against an Axe, I think that this Viper is going to have a fun time down here. So long as they're working together and the Pugna keeps flying out in regen to address the battle hunger issues. They're going into Snapfire though, and Snapfire has that effect on heroes where she just presses E and kills them. Pugna will be using TP to try and get out of there. Unfortunately, they go down, and so they're going to have to crawl back to lane the slow way. One of the worst feelings in the world as a support. That is a nice matchup for Radiant, though, having this Lion in the top lane. You'll be able to suck off the mana from the Lifestealer, and without mana, Lifestealer is not as powerful, not as frightening. Be curious to see what kind of build like Lynx goes on this lifestealer if he puts less points into rage because they're not going to have as much mana to cast it on. Lion doing his best to start mana sucking these top lane heroes, which is pretty hard to completely drain the mana. He's actually going to start using those enchanted mangoes to get his mana back. Look for potentially a kill, but Lion's able to get out of there. Pretty low HP. In the bottom lane, actually, we're missing a Snapfire. Snap decided to go mid. I think that's to either look for a kill or secure the power rune. Yeah, Snap's going to be sticking around. Let's just secure that bottom rune. Nice to see that when the supports make those rotations. The 6-minute rune is pretty powerful. Beef Farmer actually, ooh, saves that ult for the last second of that Starbreaker. Will save his life by canceling that stun. Goes top, grabs the Arcane Rune. Could turn around on this if he wants to go fishing. Grabs the Snapfire. The both supports of Radiant, The Last of Us, have shown up to help the Pudge out with this kill. Pugna, Porkchop actually doing quite a nice job doing the body block. There you get a second kill on Gundam here. Nice rotation. No counter rotation by SS Savage Sabres to help out their mid-dawn. Looks like Graphics is coming top, looking for the Wisdom. Little do they know that there's a Lion and a Mars up here. Doesn't look like anybody's in danger of dying, so we're going to keep an eye up here, see if Graphics comes out. Oh, Graphics, you got to scan. You have 2 scans, you can just see. Might have been a bait, though, as the Dawn comes in. They want to focus down this Lion first. Lion gets a nice 2-man Earth Spike. Pudge is here, though, throws out that hook, finds Graphics. Savage Sabres will be getting the Wisdom Shrine, but Lich will fall. Pudge used that ult early to lock down Lumix, followed up by the Spear of Mars. And that will end up with a 2-for-1. Going the way of The Last of Us. Well played. This is cancelled out slightly by the Wisdom Shrine. That is only 280 XP, so it does not account, or does not replace what was lost in the kills there.
There is little hope for Dire's middle tower.
So first Solar Guardian of Team Dire not doing as much as they probably hoped. Viper's been a little bit quiet down here. There hasn't been any kills in this bottom lane. They're probably a little scared of this Viper strike. But that is the nice thing about this hero, is you kind of just own lanes even by yourself, so that even if Juice is the only hero down here, they can't really do much about it and trying to get the kill or picking them off. Actually, Beef Farmer and Pork Chop are going to be rotating, wrapping around Beef Farmer. Beef Farmer has that invis, will start on the axe. Snap has the cookie, uses it to get the axe actually a little bit away. There is the hook, though, unneeded. And actually, that might save Roxy here, as Snap will TP out of there in response. There wasn't a kill after that. Yeah, okay. Dawn will take the opportunity to do a little bit of damage to the mid tower. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have a little bit of a fight over the Lotus. Lion's actually going to secure it. And that's going to draw the ire of Lynx, who runs over on that Lifestealer, pops that in rage to cancel out that Hex. And Lynx will pick up that kill on Oldman. That's exactly what Lynx needs to do. You just need to scale as quickly as possible, because as soon as you get items, it's basically impossible for Radiant to deal with you. Beef Bomber will be just walking at the Dawn mid. Ultim holds the Q for the final pick. Nice solo play by Beef Bomber, picking up that Dawn. So mid and top have been quite the bloodbath. Just, yeah, I've not seen much action down here from this Viper. If you look at the last hits, Axe has 36 to Viper's 47, so not winning the lane as hard as Juice could on this Viper. I don't have high hopes for how much impact this Viper is going to have this game. You're very good versus the Axe, but not so much against the rest of the heroes. Unless you go like Blink or a Pike, able to get into the back line, into these kind of squishier supports. And Radiant are going to be making a play on top. Dire's actually going to start if they don't know they're outnumbered here. 2-1. The Dawn's going to come in, actually, and they're going to be able to make a play on the Mars. He gets the arena off, though. That's going to hold down all these heroes, and Lynx is going to fall. They're looking for more as Beef Farmer focuses down that Lich. Doesn't have any spells left. Axe is going to get a nice chop, but the Pugna has just been spamming those Never Blasts the whole fight and will finish off Dawn. Nice double for them. 2 for 3 trade, favoring The Last of Us. Ever so slightly. Your 2 cores dying is never something you want to see. But you got quite a bit of XP and gold on those 2 supports. That's going to help your early game a little bit. Wow, this line is bad. Interesting observation. I'm not sure. I think this is legend level in terms of the average MMR. I'd have to check. The website says, if you go to the official AD2L website. Actually, Mortimer's Kiss is going to be used on this Viper, and enough are going to land. The tick damage burns that Viper down, so Snap is just going to pick off that Viper. That position 1 Viper by themselves. Downside of the hero is you're very slow, so you're pretty susceptible to just solo plays like that. Looks like Radiant are maybe making a play on Gundam. Dawn's a pretty fast hero, though. We'll just skedaddle out of there. But Pudge, Beef Bomber, smelling Roxy in the river. It's going to be running down there. Has those phase boosts, so it's pretty fast. Axe is coming over to help this Snapfire out. Pudge will go for the blind hook and miss. Has saved that illusion rune to purge off the battle hunger. Axe is actually going to try and save them, but there's no saving. Actually, the Axe gets just out of range of the Dawn, so no heals. You're going to die to the Viper's poison, as the Dawn's now in trouble. Viper just working on them. Huge Chain Frost, though, will bring down that big Pudge kill. But that's all they've gotten so far, is Viper trying to look for more, but without any kind of lockdown. It's hard to chase these 2 supports down. So, very good exchange for The Last of Us. Winks with a good reaction time on that Rage. They have no mana, though. So it has to play a little bit more cautious in lane. Might have to go jungle now. Looks like there might be a Playburn bottom. Graphics hiding in the trees, looking for more. But it does not turn into anything. So Dire's pretty happy to play the slow game. They know they have the lifestealer for late game. They know the longer this game goes, the better the chances are. So they're not trying these crazy plays. They have that Dawn to kind of go up against any kind of counter initiations. And so they've been mostly just relying on that, especially with this Axe. You know, you want that Blade Mail, you want that Blank Dagger. So they're just kind of chilling passively in lanes, waiting for Radiant to be the first to commit. Have it go bottom. Lion misses the spike after Hex, and so Hex is just going to be able to run away. Both sides kind of just poking and prodding each other. As Radiant desperately want to try and force them down here, but they really lack catch. Unless the Lion can combo stun into like a bunch of Viper right clicks, or the Pudge is there with those meat hooks. Beef Farmer was headed down there, but backed up as soon as it was apparent that Dire was leaving. Might be going on bottom. Snap lands both spells very well done to start on this line. Axe will just run down with the chop, get that kill. Beef Bomber misses the hook after the TP, but still wants to go more. Running this Axe down, but it's Phase Boots chasing Phase Boots here. TP back on the Snapfire, and the Lich will also be TPing back. Meanwhile, top, Pugna's getting chased by the Lifestealer. Has all spells. Lynx doesn't really have a chance of killing this Pugna so long as the Pugna has mana. And we might have a go here mid, Viper. Use that Viper Strike, but Dawn is gonna be pretty safe just TPing out. No stuns there to cancel that.
Dire should look to their top tower.
So you gotta imagine that Radiant feel like they're on the clock here, trying to get these plays. Pugna's gonna give them a lot of tower push. As they do a little bit of poking bottom. That's going to prompt out the Dawn ult. Mars is going to drop out the arena. Lion shows up. No TP so far from Team Dire. Savage Sabres just kind of left on their own. I think there's a fight brewing bottom. We're going to take a quick look down there. Yeah, they've got the Pudge dying to Mortimer's Kisses. That Pudge will go down as Lumix is able to get out top. So a 1-for-1. Let's look over at net worth at this point. And Pudge is significantly more wealthy than that Lifestealer, so a trade that favors the Dire team's Savage Sabres there. Cashing in that 401k with those 3 Bannerons. Yeah, Radiant, they need to get their items to be able to force team fights. So they need Blink on Mars. In fact, Mars might have Blink. What's on your courier? Yep, Blink on Mars. Hopefully that courier doesn't die. But they also need like Blink on Lion and potentially Pudge/Viper, because they just need ways to start fights and force fights, because they need to be winning these early game exchanges. Right now they're very strong, and they're just going to get weaker and weaker over time. This is good though. Pugna just running at towers. They took the top tower. And they're just going to transition bottom, trying to chip away at this tower. Not sure if Dire really want to be forcing the defense here, as it's just a Pugna Preston Q. You're risking the hooks of the Pudge, who is not there, but they don't know that. And Never Nice combo is the Pugna is pretty mana starved in the early game. You need levels to get that int growth up. And so having a Lion to supplement your mana issues just lets you punch towers over and over and over in that early game, which is a very nice feature of the Pugna. You basically take all the outers for free with this hero before 20 minutes. Lifestealer actually came bottom, has that Radiance, and is looking for a fight. Not sure if that's the wisest. You're running into a team of Radiant heroes. You don't have great vision. And so Lifestealer is going to recognize that, kind of back away. Radiant, Old Man is actually going to find graphics here. Lich has that really early shard. That's going to end up killing the line. So a 1-for-1, both supports killing each other in that exchange. Pugna getting a little bit of XP off that.
Dire's bottom tower is in danger.
Trade definitely favoring Radiant though, because with the Lich dying first, you do not get any XP from that. Pugna Decrep will take that final tier 1 tower for Savage Sabres, and now they're going to be playing with a lot less map to work with. Curious to see how Radiant start playing now with all the outers taken. Are they just content to play the farm game, waiting for items? Or do they want to press their advantage and start hunting down these heroes? Wink's farming the enemy triangle, making good space for his team. Well, his team is not... I guess his team is farming pretty decently. They're keeping up at least. Looks like Pugna's going on a little bit of a mission here. placing this deep ward. I'm not sure if you watched the footage of Wink's pork chop, but Winks tends to farm pretty aggressively. You'd have to be pressing them pretty far into their base to get someone farming down there. You might find someone like the Dawn or something. Nice hook by Beef Farmer, set it by the Pugna there. That's going to end up with Roxy Royal dying. Axe is going to try and come in. They have the Dawn. Follow up. The heal is going to run out as Beef Bomber starts to do the chip damage. It's going to go down. Dawn actually getting the double kill. Axe looks like whiffed on that Cooling Blade. And so we'll be trying to run for his life. Only one tick of poison on him. Ooh, the spear just misses. Nice Chain Frost from the side. Finds Lynx and Juice. Not jumping to this pillar at all. Holy moly, what luck. This is a mop-up for Savage Sabres. They get 5 heroes off that. Wow. Did lose the snap at the start of that fight. But look at that XP on Dawn, getting 2,700. Tons of gold as well. 1 for 5. Definitely favoring Savage Sabres there. And they're just going to take an objective off that as well. With that bottom tier 1 tower and go gate. We'll likely go in for this Tormentor, maybe transition into a tier 1 top. I did notice this in the games I've played against Winks. Winks' team really likes to, not this team specifically, but in PDCR, Winks' team really liked to go for that very early on time Tormentor. And the teams I'm on, we don't really prioritize it that much, as we have a smoke out by Dire, maybe trying to find something before they snag this top tier 1 tower. The shard did go to Axe. That's a pretty good shard. It gives you a lot of DPS on your Berserker's Call. Not like the most staggering. Ideally you'd get on the Snapfire for that Fire Snap cookies. Lich already has his. But Dire's kind of just hanging around. They seem a little bit scared to try and force the commit onto the tower. Mars Arena would do quite a bit there to dictate the fight. The Team Dire has 6,000 net worth advantage after that fight, kind of plummeting in their favor, as all of their cores are ahead of their Radiant counterparts. Mars really slacking in terms of the net worth in this core farm game. All top 5 cores are pretty similar together. It's not good for The Last of Us. You know, you're playing into the lifesteal, you have all this magic damage, you have a team that just gets countered by Nullifier, by Lifestealer Q, by Lifestealer W, or sorry, by Z. And you really need to be pressuring Winks, preventing him from farming, because Lifestealer is just going to become a monster in the late game. They're trying to do something now. They're running top trying to find, but they don't have smoke. They run into a Watcher. So Dire know exactly where The Last of Us are. Winks is just chilling in the top half of the map, just farming up. And Dire just taking the advantage to split farm. You can see Lumix on that Dawn pushing up bottom, Axe happily farming the triangle. And Winks even coming out to farm the top wave. Axe will find Beef Farmer, drop the Q, Lich will follow up with that Chain Frost. That'll be enough damage. They actually use the Mortimer's Kisses as well. But that is quite a bit overkill. Mars is actually going to find Axe, does not want to drop that arena to save his Pugna. Radiant are kind of just chilling as they let Pugna die. And Lynx just blinks away. Without that Pudge, they're lacking quite a bit of damage. They do not want to take that team fight. Axe is going to find more though. Nice blinking by Shrewd with that Infest Bomb. That's going to bring down the Lion. It's just falling one by one here on The Last of Us. Mars forced to run back into his base. Viper just taking the time to push out top. as Dire will be going and blinking once again onto the Mars this time. Mars does not have BKB of any kind, has that Essence Ring, but unable to get it off in time. His heroes falling one by one. I think Lich was dying to tower, and so Gundam just ulted in to maybe get out of base or heal them up. I'm not sure what that ult was. The Radiant definitely on the back foot here after they just lose, I think, their entire roster. Save Viper, one after the other. The gold lead just starting to mount higher and higher in Savage Saber's favor. And we might see a transition to Roche. Wink's playing top. And I know it sucks to be in this position, but you have to still be playing aggressive. Yeah, they're going to go for the smoke out. This is the correct play here. You cannot play passively versus the Lifestealer. He will simply just scale. Lifestealer takes that top tier 1 tower for free, but Dire or Radiant are looking to try and punish this. They're running top. They have an idea that Winx is up here. But Pugna is going to break Beef Bombers right here. Looking at the camps, opens one. Finally finds Winx on that small camp. Dawn is going to ult in a little bit late. Can they bring down the Lifestealer? They can. Goes down. Lumix now all alone. Lich and Axe coming in. Mars needs to keep this Lich away from the fight as the Chain Frost has got to come in now. Gonna start doing a lot of damage. Axe actually blink misses. But the kisses now. Gonna find Old Man. Mars drops the arena. Snap has no vision in here, but gonna throw in those kisses nonetheless. 3 heroes down for Saber now. As they're gonna find Lich. Drops that Limmer Cape. And 4 is the number they find. The 1 for 4 trade, that is going to cut massively into that net worth favor that Savage Saber was accumulating for themselves. And you definitely need to just get offensive vision down. You need to start pushing in lanes, applying pressure to those tier 2s, or going for Roche. They don't have the best Roche team. Pudge did not go the right click facet. I think Rotten Core is the name of it. And so Viper is really your Roche killer. Not the greatest. I'm not sure if Predator works on Roche. Snapfire Q is going to come in though. Roche is going to get the kill onto Beef Bomber because of it. As Radiant just kind of low resources. Viper is very little mana. Winx actually just runs to the pit, starts working on Roshan, and wants to finish it off. Pudge buys back, looking for the hook. Any play on Roshan? No. Winx is just going to grab Aegis. That's disastrous. They did not have the team to kill Roshan fast enough before Dire could just respawn, smoke up, and run at the pit. And so the the fight goes to Dire, the Aegis goes to Dire, Roshan goes to Dire. All of a sudden that lead just starts swinging back into Savage Saber's favor. They know the lines here into the trees. Axe misses the blink call, but that's going to be enough to bring down the line. Pudge trying to find Lich. The arena comes out, but the Chain Frost is down. Mars doing his best to try and get away. The Kiss is just flying in, trying to bring down the, I guess, the Lion or the Pudge who was in there, but once again just doing a little bit of overkill damage. So 2 heroes down for The Last of Us. Pudge did die back. And I mean, look at the gold disparity right now. It's really just Viper with any kind of farm on The Last of Us. As Pudge and especially Mars have fallen off. Pugna actually has more CS than the Mars at this point. Only 89 last hits on Lynx.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Not a good feeling to be in. Dire are back on 2 heroes, getting Wisdom Shrines, farming the safe camps on the Dawn and the Axe. And Radiant got their Pudge. They're kind of lacking a lot of damage. This game is starting to feel a little hard for them, as they just do not really have the heroes. Like, they need to have a great initiation, or they need great Savage Sabres to mess their spells up in order to win these fights. Because right now, like, if they go on any target, the Dawn just goes in, and all of a sudden it's a 5v5 fight, and the Chain Frost is just deleting you. They probably need BKBs on the Pudge and the Viper. Pudge is working on his. Ooh, nice hook on the Lich. Kind of 2 targets actually for the Dawn to try and save. Decides to go on none of them. Winx is actually hitting the tower through the arena wall. I didn't know you could do that. Shrewd is going to call the Pudge. That's going to bring him down. Radiant just not really having the damage to damage these heroes during their BKBs. Lion next to fall as Viper's just doing their best to right-click. It's going to TP out of there. No way to stop it. On the side, Mars will go down to the combined efforts of the rest of Savage Sabres. Winx just working on that Pugna ward. Ooh, missed Cookie. Doesn't matter though, as Axe had that blanket call back up. 1 for 4. That fight looked really good because they caught the Lich before they could get Chain Frost off. But the Viper just ran out of resources, ran out of mana. Couldn't really do the damage. The arena didn't really catch anybody. It was more of a zoning arena. Ideally, Radiant probably just back after that Lich kill. I know it sucks, but like, if you don't catch anybody in the arena, you don't have your heroes in position to deal damage during the arena. It's just so hard to win these fights. But just gonna ignore my advice nonetheless and just try and bring down this Lifesteal. Lifesteal just hits him a couple of times. Heals up to full. Lynx is gonna Blink's Mars Spear. Winx under the tier 4s. That's gonna do a lot of damage. Beef, nice hook, but the Lifestealer bomb will burst that Pudge down. Winx running away with so little HP. Lynx wants to run after and kill him, but just doesn't have the damage or the move speed. Lion, the next to fall. Nice snap. Q brings down Old Man on that Lion. Juice now on the high ground. Starting to right-click heroes down as the Mars bot back. Links into the middle of 4 heroes. They're going to try and focus him down. Ooh, nice arena actually. Kind of isolates the Lifestealer. He is queued though, so he's in this of his own volition. Has that Axe now, so able to just ult the Mars. Pugna's there to heal the Mars though. So Winx goes up to full, but the Mars does not die. Pugna now falls. The kisses come out to put an end to the shenanigans as Viper just needs mana to be able to do stuff in these fights and just doesn't have any mana items. Just keeps running out of mana so quickly. The hook comes out. Ooh, saves Juice's life. What a game-saving hook that is. Well played, Beef Bomber. Winx will be axing into Pudge. They're going to try and lock Pudge down. Pudge has 1 ult to stay a little bit alive, but is unable to bring down those heroes. Limic's actually getting so low, the Viper Strike will be enough to finish off that Dawn, so they get something out of this on The Last of Us. Now Juice, Viper Strike, probably wants to use it on Winx, but without that Pudge or that Mars, it's just so hard to start these fights. We'll drop it out anyway. Lifestealer does the insta-infest, trying to infest bomb. Doesn't really do that much though. Juice starts running out of mana once again. Axe Blink calls onto the Pugna. Pugna will be getting slow enough for the chop to come out. Shrewd picks up that Coda Blood stack. And the racks will fall just as Mars and Pudge respawn. They're not going to stick around and find out what happens afterwards as they retreat. One thing going for The Last of Us here is they have pretty good high ground defense. Now they are playing against a Nyax who can just hit buildings, and if you're going and you just press his Q, you don't have any ability to stop that. But I guess you have the Dawn. But the thing is like you're playing into Pudge Hook, you're playing into Arena, you're playing into Nether Ward. It's like if you try and force a fight high ground into the 5 Radiant heroes, it's probably not going to end well unless you have just a massive gold lead and are able to deal with that, because your supports aren't really going to be able to help. I guess Snap will be able to kiss this because of the range, but Lich won't be able to help that much if Lich is just bursting himself to the Pugna ward. Win probability 93% for Savage Sabres, as they are enjoying having this Lifestealer on their team. Just countering all these Radiant heroes. And actually, I'm surprised to not see any Helms of the Dominator this game. See if Lumix pick up Nullify. That's pretty nice. Axe Blinken. Actually, I think Lion was stunning the dragon, but got the axe instead. Very unfortunate timing there for Shrewd. Unreasonable reaction. See, yeah, right. I don't think I got that on the clip, but I think Lion was just trying to cue that dragon.
Radiant's top tower has
Yeah, there it is. Old Man confirms my suspicion. Actually, we have a sneaky Tormentor play by Radiant. So sneaky, even I didn't catch it. So they're going to take that objective away and give Beef Bomber a nice Q. That's quite a bit of damage for them. With that Pudge additional hook damage. I mean, what do you do if you're Team Radiant? I think at this point, you've lost the mid game. You've lost the net worth advantage, and so all you can do is just try and scrounge up farm and hope for the best on the high ground fight. I don't think you try for any kind of play unless you have like really good vision and know that there's a pickoff opportunity somewhere on the map. I think that just hoping for that 5v5 high ground is your best bet now. You ideally want to be farming on at least one of your cores. Right now it's just the Pudge and this mid wave, but you want to be going out, you want to be finding farm, and Axe is going to find a Pugna actually. Gets him pretty low, the spear will come out to prevent the chop, but that'll cost Arena and Mars's life as Juice now way out of position. Winks going in, the nice cookie from Snap will cancel that TP on Juice. And all of a sudden 3 heroes dead on Team Radiant. That is the exact opposite of what you want to do. So yeah, you do want to farm, but you want it to throw a support out there, ideally with buyback to try and D-ward. Instead of that, which is, I guess your Pugna's here, and then you have 2 cores just here. One of your cores goes in to try and save, but there's no possibility of saving them at this point. Like, you do not want to be fighting there. You do not want to be dropping Arena there. Pugna did not have buyback, but only level 16, so it's not the end of the world if they die. Axe is going to see a lone Pugna bottom. The chop does not get the kill, but brings them down low, and it's for the Battle Hunger to do the rest. It's a solo kill by Shrewd on Pork Chop. And Dire just take that top racks and are going to play the conservative game. They're going to go back for Rosh, grab that Aegis, and likely put a pin in this game. As I just do not, unless they massively screw up. It's capped at 93%, but it should be lower, and it's going to be lower here in a second once they get Aegis in this mid racks. I just do not see victory plan for Team Radiant. Their cores are just way too low in net worth. I mean, Mars is sub 10k at 38 minutes. They lack damage on this hero. They lack damage on this hero. Like, ideally you'd have like a BKB and maybe a never tank item on this Pudge. Viper is really the only one of any kind of net worth here. But even still, like, their items haven't changed that much. They're actually hovering 4,800 gold. Wants to keep that buyback. You're probably safe for buyback because Viper is a pretty good buyback hero. Instead of buying out one of these ulti orbs. As we have a pause, trying to get mana. Guessing water break or something? Not sure. It's just hard for Radiant to do any damage. I bet you that like the Nether Ward is going to be the thing doing the most damage in these fights. That and the Viper. Just the Mars and the Pudge never really got enough farm. They were so reliant on kills, trying so hard to get those kills in the early game, that they dropped their farm game and have suffered as a result, and just don't have the damage to really win these team fights anymore. Unpause here. As a recap, the Lifestealer took Roshan and is currently hiding in the Axe's butt right now. As Dire begin what is likely going to be the last push of this game unless something especially exciting happens. They're going to find Beef Bomber bottom. This is not the place you want to start the fight as Team Last of Us. Fudge just dies instantly. He's going to have to buy back early, but like how do you even start this fight? Like, do you want to Blink Arena the Lifestealer? You have to chain stun the Lifestealer, I guess, but it's almost impossible with the Dawn just ulting in. And I think you, yeah, like just baiting out. Ooh, you do not want to put the ward in a position like that. Ward goes down, and so you're not going to have that for another 20 seconds. Pugna's doing a pretty decent job with these decrypts, kind of shoving away wings. Axe actually looking for the kill bottom onto Mars. He's going to drop the arena down, actually catch out the Dawn and the Axe, but where is the damage? Beef Bomber just right-clicking and rotting, but doesn't have enough juice. Trying to find a target to go on. His Winx actually gets pretty low to the Pugna. I think Pugna was just sucking him most that whole time. Nice 3-man Earth Spike by Lion, but kind of feels all for naught as Dawn is gonna not finish off the Lion. One more. Yeah, the hammer comes out to finish off that Lion. Multiple buybacks by The Last of Us. Mars goes down. Juice goes down. Chain Frost working on these supports. Finally expires. Pugna just trying to do as much damage as possible with this Nether Ward. No GG is called, but at this point, this game is basically over. It's just the supports for The Last of Us. Wink's working on the last tower. And there it is. GG is called by Pork Trot. So game 1 going to Savage Sabres. It felt very much like a draft issue, but also kind of a farm issue. Radiant had space to farm in the early game because Dire definitely was farming. They were, you know, have Dawn, Axe, Lifestealer. They were completely happy to farm for the restraint late to the game. Like, you have the ability to farm, but you're just trying to go for those pickoffs so hard in the early game. They're just not working out. The teamfight execution is there. The Dawn is really messing up your initiation. Like, I think the Dawn Lifestealer just ruined this draft for The Last of Us. But other than that, like, I think the Axe did very well. The Lich had some amazing ultimates as well. Snap, some really nice cookie saves. And you had some good plays, some nice hooks, some nice, you know, like combos coming out from The Last of Us. But it just got to late game, and they were unable to execute. Anyway, that's going to be game 1. I'm going to take a short break here, put up the loading screen for you. We'll be back shortly with game 2. Stick around as I make this look pretty and transition. Alright, welcome back to AD2L Season 45, Savage Sabres versus The Last of Us, Challenger League. Game 1 went the way of Savage Sabres with basically an outdraft. But also, Last of Us really just had a hard time farming. Not sure if that's like a skill issue or if the game was just kind of the way where they're trying to go for kills so much so that they left their farm game kind of on the wayside. Anyway, curious to see how the ban phase goes for game 2. And we're going to see an immediate ban from The Last of Us. They banned out that Lich. It was pretty instrumental in those early game fights, getting nice pickoffs, kind of blunting the aggro pressure that The Last of Us wanted to apply in that early game with that early game draft. But they're going to stick with the LC ban from game 1. Meanwhile, Savage Sabres go for AA. I don't quite remember the bans. I think I recognize AA and Abaddon, though. I think we had a Phoenix ban. I think Witch Doctor was also banned. But so far, it's just the Lich, which has been banned from last game's draft. If I'm Savage Sabres, I'm probably not too worried about the heroes that you saw in game 1. Maybe the Viper, but Viper just didn't really like have the ability to do damage in that game. Just didn't really feel like much of a threat. Venomancer and Dazzle definitely were picked in that, or banned in that game 1 though. So only Lich gets banned from that game 1 draft, and Savage Sabres has the first pick for this game. Last of Us got the choice for game 2. They decided to go with second pick. And so Savage Sabres is going to open up with Disruptor. That is likely a Pause 5 Disruptor. Guessing played by Graphics. Not the best win rate this year. 14 games, 28%. If it is being played by Graphics. Don't see a lot of games on Disruptor by Roxy Roll. But Disruptor got very popular in TI. A lot of teams were picking it and banning it. It's just one of those heroes like Sven, where if you land your combo, the enemy is not allowed to play the game. And so you're very good at just like bursting, especially bursting annoying heroes. If you pair it with some kind of like really strong right clicker, like Sven is perfect with Disruptor, but you could go something like an Ursa or a Juggernaut or like a Luna with that ultimate, something like that. Not a ton of great counters to the Disruptor. You generally pick heroes that are backline, that are hard for Disruptor to combo on. So stuff like Sniper is pretty strong versus Disruptor. To go with Silencer, Disruptor is pretty strong versus Silencer because you get your full combo off very quickly. You just lay it out on the ground and then Silencer ults after, but you've already used all your spells. So there's no like channels like a Witch Doctor or a Shadow Shaman, for example, or Bane or Enigma that the Silencer can really shine against. Like Disruptor is honestly one of the better supports versus Silencer, even though Silencer is very meta right now. Has come down a little bit in terms of win rate, but Silencer's still very top tier. Good against a lot of the strong heroes right now. It's a very simple hero to execute, kind of like that Lich. You just press R at the right time. If you know your timing, you're able to counter-initiate fights and do really good initiations of your own to kind of prevent any kind of counterplay from the enemy. Second phase bans, we see Odie, Sand King, and Anti-Mage get banned. Is Last of Us going to go with the Medusa? You don't normally see an Anti-Mage ban unless you're thinking of Medusa. But this game, the Lifestealer and the Jug get through. Honestly, like all of Winx's heroes get through, so Winx is going to have a choice here of what they want to play. And here is you pair a Silencer. The best heroes are if you have like good initiation. Like it's very nice with pick-off teams. Like you go like Spearbreaker or Fury or Spectre, stuff like that, to kind of guarantee you that kill. It's also just good to have like a bunch of passive farming heroes. Because Silencer tends to extend games out because he tends to win the early fights with that global silence. They go with the dark when the gold is more normalized between the two teams. Dark Willow comes out. I imagine that's a Roxy hero. What are the stats? I actually don't see any Dark Willow games by Roxy, so I'm not sure where this is going. Is it a graphic hero? It could be. So Graphics has Dark Willow games and Disruptor games, so it could be like a Roxy Disruptor Graphics. Oh no, that's The Last of Us. Oh, my bad. I was looking at the wrong team. Yeah, so that's a pork chop Dark Willow. 4th most played in the last 12 months. And Hoodwink gets picked up by Savage Sabres pretty quickly. Those are two very high magic damage supports. You could pick something like Juggernaut or Lifestealer if you wanted to avoid the majority of that damage. If you're The Last of Us, you want to avoid picking breakable heroes like Bristleback or Abaddon or whatnot into that Hoodwink, because Hoodwink has one of the best, most reliable breaks in the game. And Hoodwink is just, you know, good burst hero. I imagine it's being played by Roxy. Yeah, probably Roxy Hoodwink on that 4 position. And they could really go anywhere here with this extra pick. They go with the Axe, so sticking with that Shrewd Cleric Axe that they had in game 1. It's very good in lane. It's decent versus Silencer / Dark Willow, especially Dark Willow because you have that AoE stun. If the Dark Willow tries to W and TP out with that Shadow Run. And yeah, Last of Us are just going to go Medusa. Followed up instantly by Juggernaut. Okay, so they're opting for the second option that I presented, where you just go like Ultra Greed on your cores, and you just hope that the Silencer is enough to win you the early game team fights. If you're Savage Sabres, you probably just want to like look for early game heroes, and just because you don't really want to go late game against Dusa, Jug, Silencer. That those are 3 of the best late game heroes. I would go for probably more lockdown / like good lane dominators. Here's that Winx plays. You could pick up Morphling if you wanted that free Medusa Shield or Juggernaut Q for that BKB piercing effect. I think it's more likely you see the Lifestealer or the Nature's Prophet come out. Lifestealer is not the greatest versus Silencer or Dark Willow. But Furion definitely is good versus... if you want to play early game, it's very good for doing that early game strategy. They go for Invoker. That's going to be Gundam Invoker. So Mid Invoker. And that gives you EMP effect versus Medusa, which gives you quite a bit of kill potential versus her in the early game. Not so much late game. EMP is kind of, it's flat damage, so it does burn quite a bit of mana, but it's not like scaling mana, kind of like Anti-Mage. So right now, Last of Us kind of lack lockdown. They have decent team fight, but ideally you get something that's just like pure lockdown, like a Mars. Some kind of lane winner. This could be a 3 Medusa. If I look at links here. No games played on Medusa. If I look at Juice. No games played on Medusa. What about Beef? I'm not sure where this Medusa is going. So Medusa was popular as a 3. But that build kind of fell out of favor. I think they nerfed some part about Medusa, or people just got kind of wise into what to draft against it.
It is Dire's
But the hero is not quite as dominant in that 3 position where you rush Echo Saber as she used to be. I honestly think this is a 3 Medusa. I don't think they'd throw her mid against an Invoker. The Savage Sabres, they banned the co-op, so they're likely expecting it to be a mid-last pick. Last of Us go for Ursa.
10 seconds.
They want to ban out those Winx heroes. I would probably ban the Furion here,
5 seconds.
because you have that Invoker Sunstrike global presence, and you're mostly just worried about early game push, early game fight, laning phase. Nature's Prophet is one of Winx's best heroes. The Furion, the Jug, and the Life Stealer, along with the Sven, are all the positive win rate heroes in like the top 15 heroes played for him. They're running out of time thinking about this last ban. Spending a lot of time. Are they going to ban something? Or are they going to give it up?
Turn to ban.
Last of Us, they give up that ban.
Impossible.
Must choose.
Interesting. All right. Maybe didn't realize that they had the pick or the ban, or they just wanted all the time to think about their last pick. But Winx just yeah, has the option. I expect to see Furion here,
10
but
seconds remain.
like other heroes, like you could see maybe a TA or a Wraith King or an Abaddon, just like something that like hard counters the Omni, because right now it's really just the Omni that kills you. And so picking a carry that, like, I could see Morphling too, like just something with like an invulnerability like Morphling, to where you can't get solo killed by the Juggernaut, I think is completely fine. You could just go Morphling for the late game, or try and go for like an early game hero with the Furion.
Dire must choose.
I go Sniper. Okay, so kind of a mixture of both. That's an interesting Sniper pick.
10 seconds remain. Choose your hero.
Lynx has played 5 games of Sniper in the last year. Goes Ghillie Suit. It's decent versus Medusa because you have the range to deal with Stone Gaze. You can kind of plink off of her at will. Last of Us really suck with the initiation. They pick up Primal Beasts as a last pick, and so the plan might be that you just have Winx hit the building with Alacrity, and you force The Last of Us to try and start a fight on him. Primal's decent hero at that, but I do not like this draft from The Last of Us. It's very greedy. Primal addresses some of the issues with it, with the lack of initiation, kind of like a tanky frontlining hero until the Medusa gets online. And Sniper doesn't really care about a silencer, you just hit things. Invoker's going Agent of Galaran, so likely they want to play with that Axe Call into Cataclysm combo. Might see a Ags Rush on Lunix. And yeah, I feel like just Radiant's game is a lot simpler. So the thing is the shoes on the other foot for this game, in that Last of Us do have the better late game. So if the game goes on long enough, you have to contend with Silencer, Dark Willow, Medusa, Juggernaut late game. Did my...
Prepare for
There we go.
battle.
There we go. Alright. Yeah, so you do have to contend with like this Juggernaut, Medusa, Dark Willow, Silencer late game quad stack. And the Primals kind of have to kind of carry you there. So you do have to play like a little bit tower pushy, a little bit aggro onto Team Radiant. Savage Sayer has... They kind of need a little bit of items to start pushing out towers. What I expect to see is Invoker go for that Ags Rush. And then you just get kills with like the Axe Splint Calling, followed up by the Cataclysm, or the Disruptor, or the Hoodwink gets a stun, or a Kinetic Fence / Field. And you just get killed with the Cataclysm. I have a pause here, no explanation. Wink says G. Let me check my stream. Nobody's complaining about anything, so that's good. And we are unpaused. Game 2 is starting for real this time. Don't worry, it's not going to pause again. Neither team smoking out once again. For those watching, that is something you can do to improve your kind of early game advantage a little bit. If you smoke out and you get to the lanes a little bit earlier, if you want to place those wards, you can make like little rotations, like going around or looking for pickoffs that you otherwise normally wouldn't be able to do if you weren't smoked. Dire, if they were smoked, you know, they could have a little bit of a surprise here, but they're just going to raw dog run up. Hoodwink, Roxy Aurora with the dodges on that Bramble Maze, though. Just no kill opportunity there. Dark Willow gets a cheeky little ward there in the trees. That's going to help out. I guess it's the Beef Bomber in the mid primal? Yeah, mid Beef Bomber. Interesting. Both teams kind of just look at each other a little bit, but nothing happens in the early game. And we're going to start once again with a 0-0 scoreboard. So one thing I noticed is Juice did not feel, or Juice did not appear to be like too comfortable making solo plays as the Viper. They're kind of in that hard farm mentality, but you really need to be looking for kills if you're playing that Viper one. Like you need to be like itemizing for like Blink Dagger or Piper Heart or Blade Mill or stuff like that, like early game fight items where you can get on top of heroes instead of that hard farming role, because it's, you're hard farming for what, late game against a team that has better late game. Like it's very difficult. But if you're a Juggernaut, you can justify that. You go Battle Fury, you hit creeps, you get very, very strong, you're scaling, and you only have to go to fights if you feel inclined or if the fights look good. Anyway, let's have player introductions. Starting off in the top lane, we have for Savage Sabre, Shrewd Cleric on that pause 3 axe, supported by Roxy Aurora on Hoodwink. They are contending against Juice on the pause 1 Juggernaut and Pork Schwap in the gallery supporting. We're going to be throwing out another Bramble Maze. Roxy Aurora with the expert dodges though, able to skedaddle out of there. In the mid lane, Lumix is going to be playing up against Beef Bomber and Joker, Reverse Primal respectively. And in that bottom lane, it's Wink's Sniper, pause 1, supported by graphics on that Disruptor. And their opponents are linked with the pause 3 Medusa. Very rare to see these days, as she slowly dies to shrapnel. Very hard to see you're actually dying as Medusa. You have to pay attention to your mana bar instead of your HP bar, and they'll be supported by Old Man, and that sounds for that. Bottom lane, I think, goes to probably Sniper. Probably the Sniper pairing. Just Medusa, you need to have a lot of damage to keep the Medusa kind of low HP, because she gets a lot of EHP from just mana. As I pull out the last hits here. But they don't really have the team to jump on top of the Sniper. They do have good poke, but the Sniper can just ferry out Tangos and mostly deal with it. And Medusa's getting very low. Glimpse back by graphics. They burn the Medusa's mana. Medusa doesn't realize how dangerous this is. Just couple more right clicks from Wink. She can't really join this fight. Sniper is going to try and focus down Silencer, dying for it. Winks gets the first split, so no -1 in. Trade for a trade. Winks will happily take that with that gold and XP. Graphics, meanwhile, going for the Lotus, actually gets it. That was a big mistake by Medusa there. Needed to stand on that and get that Lotus. I think could have killed the Disruptor if they stayed there. Actually, no, the Glimpse would have taken Medusa off, so there was no play there for Medusa. Mid lane, I'm always scared of Grandmaster Invokers. Primal's a pretty strong laner when played by the right players. But Invoker's definitely one of the better heroes to pair off against Primal because you have a lot of spells to counteract what the hero does. The hero is very obvious when they charge in. Trying to, get a kill or something. They like charge in, they ult. Like you can see it coming a mile away. So if you're able to get that cold snap off or that tornado off, you can just mess up the combo. And the hero doesn't do much. We actually have the level 4 rotation by Primal Beast. This is one of the nice things about this hero. Is you don't need level 6 to get kills. You have that built-in initiation tool. And so Beef Bomber is going to get that side lane pickoff on Roxy. Lumix actually TP'd up here. They want to get the counter kill on the Dark Willow. Dark Willow with 120 HP. Goes into tower. Tornado comes out. It's actually Quaz, Wex, Invoker to start out with. Huh. Gets the kill with that tornado, but I was not expecting Quaz Wex with Agent of Galaran. What the heck is this gonna build? Is this normal? Think about it in a second as we have the excellent glimpse into Hoodwink Stun. We'll pick up that silencer. Link's getting very low. One more right click would have done it, but Lynx just gets chased away by these supports. Hoodwink and Disruptor chasing down Lynx. Bushwhack comes out, lands, Lynx getting very low, only has the one stick charge, Glimpse comes out, will secure that kill, and that is 2 dead for no trade. Old Man wants to get the kill on Lynx. If you press C, it's going to do a lot of damage. Did he get the sounds off in time? Yeah, he did. Sticks up. Ooh. Very close. Almost gets low enough to prompt out those strength treads. But yeah, back to this. I think you like Quas because you get the HP regen. X-Sword, you get damage. Actually just got 2 points in it now. But I'm not sure what this was about. Maybe it's because you want the disable for the primal when they like charge in. So you have a way to deal with them in lane. Axe getting very low top. Dark Willow actually is chasing. Ooh, the Bushwhack comes out. Actually pulls away from the Sunstrike. So no kill for Invoker. Kill belongs to Roxy. It's a nice Bushwhack. And that is a pretty nice lane pairing as well. Or a hero pairing. With Disruptor Hoodwink, because Disruptor can just glimpse a hero and you can land the easiest Bushwhack of your life with that. Because you know exactly where they're going to be. So I expect to see that quite a few times in this game. Last hits wise, the ones are the ones suffering the most. Axe and Sniper actually have a ton of denies. But both mids doing a pretty decent job together. 7 minutes is coming up. We have another rotation by Beef Bomber on the bottom lane. No rune, but just wants to go. You can hear the yell from the from Fog. Oh no. Beef Bomber used Polarize, but it gets instantly canceled by Glimpse, so no kill threat there. This is a very hard lane to gank because the Disruptor can just always glimpse you. You really have to bait it out. Linux TP bottom, and that's going to get the kill on Oldman. So disaster turns into tragedy as your silencer dies. And nothing to show for it. Tiny bit of a gold lead for Savage Sabres. Win probability. Gavin still thinks Dyer has the lead. His Axe is getting pretty low top. Looks like... No, it wasn't a contest. I think the Axe may have just been run down. Oh, the Juggernaut actually got super low. Roxy comes in on the side. Picks him off. Apologies for not catching that. Meanwhile, bottom lane Lynx is going to get fenced up by the Disruptor. Hit by the Sniper. Where are the headshots? Glimpse comes out. A couple more right clicks. Has to use that Lotus to stay alive a little bit longer. Did Medusa go the... Actually, Juggernaut died top. Oh, yeah, I saw that. But did Medusa go? Yeah, she did go Undulation. So headshots aren't going to slow down this Medusa. I think that's the standard build for 4-3 Medusa. It's been a while since I've seen it in action. I remember how much of a craze that was. Like, I was in a couple of leagues during that time, and both my teams were like talking nonstop about how to incorporate it into our drafts and play with it. But you don't see it too much these days. I forget why. I forget why it died out. I don't know if it was like an item change or a Medusa change, but the Disruptor's going to be looking for the silencers. Hoodwink did die top. Oldman getting very low. Shrapnel will be enough to get Winks that kill. Meanwhile, Hoodwink died here. Where you at, Hoodwink? You died to a Root and a Juggernaut. Yeah, so just simple pick off. Beef Bomber comes top to get that kill onto the Juggernaut. Actually, no, they got the kill on the Axe. Alright, the Axe got the kill on the Juggernaut, but then Beef Bomber got the return kill on the Juggernaut. Apologies. Or on the Axe, rather. Lynx gets very low. This Medusa just doesn't really have the mana. Just getting poked and prodded by the sniper. Medusa is unable to do Medusa things against the sniper. Sniper can just stay away from the wave with that extra long range. And, you know, it doesn't get snaked. You can just keep poking the Medusa with right clicks and shrapnels. So it's very difficult for Medusa to really do anything down here. I remember Dusa being... Ooh, Bushwhack just misses from Roxy. Sunstrike gets him so low. Reapplies the Battle Hunger, is healing it from the healing ward though. Sharpshooter comes out, not enough. Juggernaut has Omni and ult and spin. Axe waiting on that ultimate. We're going to follow this. There's a fight brewing down bottom. I do want to see that, but I think Juice is going to get away here. Shrewd is diving for it. Yeah, no, nothing happens. Juggernaut able to get away. Yeah, I think there was a fight brewing bottom, but nothing happened down there. Beef Bomber has that shield rune and is hanging around bottom. I don't know if Beef Bomber learned his lesson. Actually, Pork Chop died top. We'll go back there in a second. Beef Bomber really wants to get this kill. Aw, graphics so low. But the Dark Willow did die top. It was a Bushwhack into Axe Stun that did her in. As I keep missing kills, graphics, they actually found graphics. I'm not sure where, how they managed to catch them. Look, oh, I guess Beef Bomber just stuck around and found it with the pulverize.
Dire structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower.
I'll try to pay a little bit more attention here so we don't miss anymore. But it seems like Sniper's kind of left the lane. Probably doesn't want to be hanging around bottom with the Primal down there. So went mid. And Medusa is finally able to get some creeps in that bottom lane. Juggernaut actually suffering quite heavily against this Axe. As bottom lane, they do the Glimpse Bushwhack combo once again. Get Lynx down pretty low, but Old Man is right there behind her. Kind of prevent any of her kill opportunity happening. We have a little bit of a lane transition, it appears like. Lynx has gone mid to farm up, get away from this Medusa / Silencer, get some alone time in the mid lane. We'll be picking up this haste. Top lane, Dark Willow has that 6. He's going to be chasing down Shrewd. Low level W though. Did not max it out. Maxed out Bramble Maze instead. And so Axe is going to be able to just TP out of there. No ability to cancel. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Dusa gets found once again. But that's going to set up a charge in by Beef Bomber on that Primal. Gets immediately canceled by the Bushwhack though. Winx is just sitting there with Mask of Madness. Beef Bomber smashes the ground in anger. But that's not going to save his life, as Old Man now is the target of Radiant's attention. Ooh, the Bushwhack gives the vision for the Assassinate and the Glimpse. These Bushwhacks have been on point. Roxy Aura, excellent on this Hoodwink hero. As Juice is very delayed on this Battle Fury timing. Still has almost 3,000 gold to go. If you farm up 500 GPM, that's, what, 6 minutes? So you're looking at maybe like a 19-20 minute Battle Fury up here. If you're allowed to farm, which Juice gets that Omni off, but Axe has 22 armor at this stage of the game, so not taking a lot of damage from that Omni. Root comes out though. Orc Chop lands the Root, followed up by the Silencer magic damage. They need magic damage to bring this Axe down. But the Fear is going to give him the move speed to start running away. The Arcane Curse takes him down to 26 hit points. One right click from Silencer is not going to be enough. Lynx sees the opportunity, TP's in, and wants to kill Old Man. Runs him down with that Mask of Madness. And the Bushwhack finds Dark Willow. Double kill for Winx. How did Winx get that second kill? Guess it was just a right click. And the game is starting to run away a little bit in terms of Savage Saber's favor. For the first time, Gaben thinks that Radiant have a chance here. And I guess what are the heroes we need to look at in these fights? So this was to be expected. I mean, you go for that Juggernaut Medusa pairing. It's going to be greedy. Like, Medusa 3 is still a greedy hero. It still wants to farm. You know, you don't really have the team to, like, stand behind Medusa and shove lanes out. Not like a Pugna or a Sniper or anything like that. Or you don't have a Drow to really amp her damage. So it's like, you still want to be farming on this hero, not really pushing buildings. But the problem is the Juggernaut also wants to be farming, and so you're really left with just like the two supports to be playing with the Primal to get kills. As we have it go bottom, Roxy actually misses a Bushwhack for once. Disruptor is going to pull Medusa into the Static Storm. Not going to do that much damage. And they're just going to have to let the Medusa go off that miss. Beef Bomber charges in the triangle. Where was I? I guess that I'm trying to, like, to distill the point. Dire, they have weird timings. It's like Dusa and Juggernaut are very greedy. Primal only really has the Dark Willow to play with, but the Primal also gets pretty hard countered by the Radiant supports. Disruptor and Hoodwink both have multiple ways of dealing with the Primal. And so it's just really awkward to make space. Like, you don't really want to be making space because your team's so greedy. But at the same time, like, the game is starting to get away from you. And I feel like the Sniper, like, the timing is the Sniper's just going to start hitting your buildings, and what do? Like, the Medusa's not going to do anything. The Jug, unless he goes Blink, isn't really going to do anything. They're going to find Dark Willow on this Sentry Ward bottom. I think they were in this. Yeah, they had the Glimmer Cape. Dusa actually stuns up the Sniper with the Stone Gaze, followed up by the Meteor Hammer. That's going to bring down that huge Wicked 6 streak on the Sniper. It's going to cost Lynx her life. As the Disruptor finds Silencer on the very back with that long-range glimpse. And that'll be a 3-for-1. Honestly, you know, the numbers don't say it, but that's pretty worth for Dire. You want to slow the Sniper down. He did not get any gold and only a little bit of XP from that fight. And so just trying to slow down the Sniper's game is so important to your game plan. Beef Bomber gets very low. I'm not sure if the glimpse was on cooldown or out of range or what, or if they didn't want to go for the kill, but Beef Bomber allowed to escape. Axe farming very aggressively. Probably wants to find this Juggernaut. This Juggernaut is super squishy against this Axe. Just cannot, like, if the Axe ever finds him, the Juggernaut is probably just dead. Roxy Aurora is gonna dodge Beef Bomber. The nice Tornado comes out. Is actually gonna set up the perfect Disruptor. A Bushwhack as well. So much magic damage. Double kill onto Limix. That Tornado just setting everything up. Nice follow-up by Graphics and Roxy Aurora there. Just dishing out the magic damage onto those two Last of Us heroes. Let's move on over to Net Worth, see what the story tells. Yep, Sniper is having an amazing game. It's a pretty good Sniper game. And Deuce is just gonna Meteor Hammer the Sniper. Winx is just gonna back up though. Has that Mask of Madness move speed. A black catch on Team Dire, so Sniper feels pretty safe just doing that. Radiant took that bottom tower, looks like. During the meantime, Winx wants to kill this Medusa. Angelita's keeping Medusa alive for the time being. And this is going to be the next target for Savage Saber, as they actually go on multiple targets. Silencer dodges the Sunstrike, gets hit by Assassinate and survives. Holy moly. One more right click will bring down Lynx though, but Silencer able to get out of there. This mid tower very low. Beef Bomber has shown up to this fight. Not sure if you want to keep going though. He has Blade now. Sniper can kind of just wait it out though, as they have the Assassinate, they have the Glimpse. Beef Bomber has nowhere to go. Lynx picks up that double kill on 2 Last of Us core heroes. Ton of gold going the way of Lynx, 600 gold. And right now it's just feeling like the game plan is on juice for Dire. You need this Juggernaut to farm up. You have a, looks like a 19-minute Battle Fury. So not the end of the world timing's bad, but still it's not the greatest, especially if you need, you know, these heroes to be able to win team fights in the games. They're going to start a fight onto Mimic's bottom. Pork Chop does the full Dark Willow combo. They drop the Meteor Hammer as well. I don't think... Ooh, the Snake comes out, and that's just enough damage to bring Nidoka down. That's a huge pick. Axe does not have the mana for the chop, but manages to bring down that Dark Willow hero. Pork Chop going down. They want to look for more. Disruptor has the Glimpse. Do you use it? Doesn't use it just yet. Do you smash into the air... Snake Root, whatever it's called, Gordon's Grasp, brings down the Disruptor, but now the Sniper's here, and what's your plan for that? Sniper's just going to stand his ground, few these heroes down, Primal falls, Silencer falls. Lynx in trouble now as Lynx starts getting chased. There's no Disruptor pulled back, but the Bushwhack lands, and Axe wants to go in, but has no mana for that call. Just has Blink, could do a bit of body blocking if he wanted to. And that's going to be the play, as the body block will be enough to induce it down long enough for Lynx to get the kill. Lynx is dominating. Game is falling apart a lot faster than the last game for The Last of Us. Once again, just feels like kind of an outdraft. This Primal is well taken care of. Like, you picked a Primal into Hoodwink Disruptor. You just don't really have that good early game ability to kill heroes, because both supports can just mess you up. As Axe got that Shrine of Wisdom, that's unfortunate. Definitely don't want to be falling behind on XP, especially if you're this behind on gold. Pork Chop is just chilling in the lane, looking for a go. Axe is going to go on the Primal. Darkle is going to go on the Sniper, actually. Sniper getting pretty low. They're in a little bit more damage. Oh, they get that kill. That is huge. The Primal did go down to the Axe, but they might be able to do the follow-up as the Jug is here. That's doing quite a bit of damage with the spin. Axe gets last second call, but not enough to bring anybody down, as now they want to look for more. Roxy Aurora stuck in the trees on that Hoodwink. They don't have vision of her. But they do know she's there. But looks like Dire are going to be happy with their winnings, and they're just going to leave. No Omni committed. Nice play by Dire. Well, it's kind of a weird fight. So it was really just the Dark Willow forcing the kill, and the Sniper. You kill the Sniper early on. And that's just like the linchpin for Savage Sabres. They're unable to do enough damage at the stage of the game without their Sniper. Axe did get that kill up on Primal, but at that point, they were able to turn around and kill that Axe. 2 huge kills. Going the way of Last of Us. So that's exactly what you want to do on Dire. You want to be, you know, taking these fights, ideally defensively, and having them be like inconclusive enough to where objectives can't really be taken, so the game state lasts longer. If this Medusa and this Jug are allowed to farm up, the game gets much easier for you. Now, it's still a hard game, but you're facing into a Sniper and you have Medusa, or you have Juggernaut and Primal, so you have tools once you get items to deal with that Sniper. And Sniper is really the majority of the damage on Radiant. And so once you get out of the early game, and once the support's damage stops being as impactful, then your game plan becomes easier to execute. We see the Axe Call into the Sunstrike. Primal's gonna get out of there though. Tornado flying in, has to just run in a straight line to get away from it. And that will be a failed gag opportunity. Beef Farmer gets away with his life. Disruptor might be looking for something bottom. Looks like Dark Willow held that Glimmer to just get out of range of the glimpse. Any kind of possibility of a turnaround was negated. And if you're Team Radiant, what do you want to do here? You're pretty happy with the game state. You are winning. You are on a bit of a time pressure. Like, you don't want to just farm all game. So you do want to be looking for these plays with the Axe and the Invoker. Invoker is not going Ags, instead opting for that Octarine. Let's take a quick look at items here. Aether Lens on both Disruptor and Hoodwink. Very interesting. As this game, once again, we have that pretty early Tormentor. 24 minutes this time instead of 21.
Dire are scanning for enemies.
But Winx' team likes to go for those early Torms, and they're going to attempt this early Torm. Once again, Disruptor is getting very low, will not cost him his life. Ooh, Roxy with 2 supports getting so low. If there's a Zeus here, get a couple of kills off of that. Oh, but anyway, Nusa went for Yules after Meteor Hammer to try and... I'm not sure what that Yules is for. I guess you dodge Bushwhacks with it. They find the Primal. Beef Bomber goes down. Beef Farmer may have been looking for a low HP hero to pick off, but the problem is all these heroes were here and you just don't have BKB. You need BKB if you really want to fight. Beef Farmer working towards that as the next item. Dark Willow is hitting the creeps. There is an Invoker TP. I'm not sure if Invoker sees this. Invoker only has eyes for Medusa. Well, Tornado, the Yules actually dodges the EMP, so Lumix unable to get any additional damage there. Axe will see the Dark Willow, Blink Call, Sunstrike follow-up will bring her down. I'm not sure how they had vision of her. Maybe a Creep Saw or something. Top lane, do we have any goes? Dusa is going to show. Oh no, he gets glimpsed back. Disruptor players only want one thing. And it's too nasty to even be said. Lynx has the gate though to go top. Can use that. Yeah, your game plan on Radiant is probably pretty simple. You just look for kills on the Axe. Axe is very strong right now. And you just set up kills with the Invoker Sunstrikes. Ideally with Cataclysm later on. Before this Jug starts getting HP from items. This Jug is going for that Axe next. They're going to find Beef Bomber once again. Has the Blade Mo, pops it after half of his HP is gone. And there is no getting away on this Primal Beast. What a disaster. Like they needed something like a Primal on this Dire team. They needed a way to start fights. They need like a tanky boy in the front to, you know, draw attention. Sounds just going to get solo killed down here by the Axe. But Primal just does not do well versus these supports. Like, you can never go in. You're just going to get screwed until you have BKB. So you really can't be fighting or playing aggressively until you have that BKB. The Bushwhack from Hell catches the Medusa, followed by the Glimpse. She will drop Stone Gaze, but it is far too late as Winx will just peep the Medusa down. And Radiant are accumulating a bit of momentum here. All of their cores are higher than the Dire counterparts. Only the Jug is close. 600 gold off that Axe. Pork Chop is going to find the Bramble onto Shrewd Cleric. Axe is going to run into his second one. There's going to be a lot of magic damage here. Jug is not going to mess around. Just going to drop that full onto the Axe. That's a big kill. 1,000 gold among two heroes. Very nicely done. The rest of Radiant are here. They don't seem too concerned about their lack of Axe as they look for an additional pick. Bramble Maze comes out. It's going to stop a couple of these Radiant heroes. As the 2-man stun from the Dark Willow is actually going to catch the Invoker and the Hoodwink out of position. Oh no, the Disruptor ult comes in, brings that Primal down. Solo Beef Farmer dies. The Invoker did go down though, died to Pork Chop. As the Juggernaut is trying to find the kill on the Sniper. Sniper just TP'd out of there as long as the mass TPs from the rest of Radiant. They realize no Invoker, no Axe, we don't have any more team fit. So they just all skedaddle out of there. And how did you die, Invoker? You were stunned by that amazing Hoodwinky, then you got Globaled, then you got Pulverized, then you got Last Word, and mostly Primal. Mostly Primal just pressing W on you. Okay. So just getting a little bit too far forward out of position. The Bramble did a nice number on the Disruptor and the Silencer, preventing them from really joining the fight until much too late. And so that's going to eat away at that advantage. It was 13k, now it's starting to fall down closer to 10k. Radiant want to go for the safe play and take Rouge. Pork Chop is in the area that doesn't have a Blink Dagger to jump into the pit. I don't think you have any good way of dealing with this as The Last of Us. You don't really have a go-in hero. Like, do you even have a Blink Dagger at this point? No, you do not. So you're really just relying on that Primal to go in and start the fight, but Primal's nowhere near there. Far on the side of the map, wants that BKB, is telling the team, guys, I need this BKB. I do not want to fight until we have BKB. Because you're just going to keep dying to the support pair every single time unless you have BKB, unless you're able to get your full combo off. Radiant, after picking up that Aegis on Sniper, are going to run mid. They want to get this second tier 2 tower. And this, we're probably seeing the start of the idea here. You just put the Alacrity on the Sniper hits the tower from 2,000 range away or whatever it is. And how do you start fights? Like, does your Primal want to go in? How can your Medusa go in? Can your Jug go in? Like, they're pretty slow heroes. Like, you can see him coming from a mile away. Sniper is going to go bottom, wants to push out this bottom wave. Math is pretty simple for Savage Saber. Just push out that bottom wave, take that last tier 2. And Dire, likewise, their game plan's probably pretty simple. They probably just want to be sitting high ground, waiting for that big team fight ult so they actually have a little bit of vision in the fights. Yeah, once again, you can kind of see it's just really juice with the farm on Team Dire this game. Beef Bomber, Link's not really having the greatest of games. Beef Bomber, I forget, it was Mars last game. It wasn't Beef Bomber, but the 3 last game for The Last of Us had less net worth than the support, and this game, the 2, has less net worth than the support. Winx is going to bring down this bottom tier 2. Dire is nowhere in the neighborhood. They are off on the top side of the map, farming up. They know what's coming. The tier 3 tower push is upon you. They're just trying to get a little bit of gold. Primal is 10 gold off that BKB. Could TP back and just wait and fountain for it, but here you go. How do you start this fight? Sniper is just going to hit high ground, has the vision from the Forge Spirit, and just gonna keep getting Alacrity'd up. Ult comes out by Roxy onto Dark Willow. Dark Willow actually has that full ag, so can do quite a bit of damage in these fights. And Sniper's going to have to get a little bit closer to deal damage. Pops the Mask of Madness, starts working on the range racks. And you have BKB on Primal. This is just such a shitty position. You almost want to, like, bait a fight, like get stunned on the side to force the axe to go in. But here we go. Beef Bomber is going to BKB ult, global to follow. They're going to pick off the Disruptor before he can get any spells off. Winx is actually going to go down. Aegis dropped. Dark Willow doing a ton of damage to this Invoker on the side. We're going to watch Sniper those. This is the main festival here. Winx starts right-clicking these heroes down. Silencer will be the first to fall on Team Dire. Jug waited on that Omni for the second life for Sniper. We'll drop it now, and Winx goes down. Triple kill for Juice. This is exactly what they needed. The Hoodwink and Invoker are the last heroes on Radiant to stay alive. Beef Bomber wants to get this Hoodwink kill. She's a very fast hero, though. Beef Bomber has that 9-stick, and will be chasing the Hoodwink off into the trees, where the Blade Mill is actually doing quite a bit of damage, but Will not get that final kill. Alright. It felt like the shittiest initiation in the world, but I guess you have that silencer. I feel like that global just... if they didn't have silencer, this game would be impossible for Dire. Because the supports, they don't have... I guess the Hoodwink has a purge item, but Disruptor doesn't have a purge item, and so he's out of the fight for those 5 seconds. While your sniper is getting blink charged pulverized during that time. I feel like if you are Axe, you need to have a Dispel item because your job is to get the primal off the sniper. So probably go like a BKB or something instead of this Axe. And you just need to blink onto the primal beast, cancel that pulverize whenever he goes for the sniper. And yeah, just that's basically the only way they win the team fight is if they're able to pick off the sniper early. Dark Willow goes down. How did you die? Just you ran into a sniper and sniper right-clicked you a couple of times. Okay. I was watching top because the juice was getting pretty low, close to Lumix. Juggernaut does not have any detection though, so very hard kill on that Invoker. Let's see, gets very lucky with the bashes. Damn, I wish I'd seen that that bottom kill. I think I'm guessing Willow went for like a bramble or something, and Winx was just hitting her when she wasn't looking at her character. But goes down purely to sniper, tiny bit of damage by the neutrals. If you are super conservative on Radiant, you probably want a Dispel on the Axe. You go for like Lotus or BKB or something, and then you start your tower push. They're going to go for the Tormentor. Disruptor is actually going to die for this, and they pick up the Shard onto the Axe. So going to get that Ag Shard, Ags combo pretty early on. Juice is actually pretty rich at this point. They find the Hoodwink. But she's going to run away at 492 move speed. Very difficult to chase this hero down. Juggernaut, pretty wealthy, has a ton of gold in the bank. Probably saving up for that buyback. Wonder what the next item is going to be. I'm guessing... Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. He has a broadsword in his inventory. Oh, it's Career the Butterfly. Okay. Yeah, I think if you're Juggernaut, your build this game is you just need like a blink and just damage. And you just follow up. You need to kill a hero during global. Like you need to kill a priority hero. That is your job. So just build any kind of item that lets you blink burst. Or get on top of a hero and burst. During your global and your pulverized time. Invoker went back for the Ags after getting Octrin, so they do have that combo if they try and start a fight with the Axe. That's actually kind of a nasty way for them to start the fight. They don't have too much save on Team Dire, really just that global, so if Axe is able to get like a 2-man call, your Cataclysm on top of that, you're able to do a lot of damage to these Dire heroes. Hoodwink is actually showing in lane. They do not have any Blink daggers, so it's hard to get on top of her. Porkchop smoke breaks. Porkchop knows that the Hoodwink is right here. Has the vision, misses on the Bramble. Actually, second Bramble comes out because of the Shard. And they're going to find this Hoodwink. She has the OD staff. That's not going to be enough to save her as they kill this Roxy Royal here. Mega 5 streak goes down, going on to the Juggernaut. Giving him even more of a net worth advantage. Looks like we have a bit of a rat opportunity for Savage Saber. They shove in the wave bottom. But the Medusa's just going to TP back and stop that push. Dire are hanging around top. I think they want to start on Winx. They want to get a pick off on Winx while he's alone. They do see the Invoker bottom. So they know that Savage Sabres are pretty split up right now. They just kind of need vision
Dire are scanning for
to be starting fights. Juice has actually not hit a creep in a while. Really waiting for that sniper to show up, but sniper never goes forward. Winks far too wily to attempt that. And in fact, they're going for the Roshan. Roshan's going to roar, so Dire knows exactly what's coming. Beefarmer might actually run into the Disruptor here. He's going to run into the Invoker. Disruptor actually messes up the E placement, so doesn't have that for the combo. Snap it, or Dark Will in the back actually finds Winks, tries to get on top of him. Does a ton of damage to Winks. They're going to be able to pick off the Dark Will. The Global comes out way, way, way too late as Primal is just running forward, trying to find anything to capitalize off this. They want to kill the Sniper, but
scanning for enemies.
Sniper able to get away. Dark Willow. That was a ballsy play. I really like that play. She must have face tanked the wraparound with that Glimmer Cape to just found the Sniper, and that would have been so good if Dire was just a little bit more in position. Oh no, Primal did not get the BKB off. Gets it off after, but there's no charge. You're just going to stand there and die to the Sniper as the axe on the side finds the silencer, brings down Old Man with that chop. And now Roche is wide open for Radiant. Winks is going to run back into the pit. Roche angry, Roche war, Roche smash. But this Alacrity Sniper just doing so much damage as Lumix is tanking for him. Gotta be a little careful here, Lumix, yeah. Let your Sniper tank a little bit. Or your axe. Actually, Roche has had enough. He's finally done with these heroes. He's gonna run away through the river, but not gonna be enough. And he'll give the Aegis to Winks. Alright, round 2 high ground. Let's see what happens. Global's up in 40. Primal, no BKB for 40 as well, so that's their timing. I'm curious to see if Savage Saber go for the mid wave or if they try and finish off this bottom. Because right now they're positioning for mid. They have that double catapult wave. And it's gonna be a second because only the Sniper's hitting. There are catapults as well, but Tower's gonna survive for long enough for this BKB to come off cooldown. That's really their timing. They're going to wait for that on Dire before they go in, I imagine. Jug actually top hitting the tower is going to be found by Shrewd. Gets the call off. No Cataclysm or Sunstrike. It would have been a kill otherwise. Juice gets the Swift Slash off. Axe, no call. Goes for the chop anyway. Meanwhile, mid, we have the charge in by Primal Beast. Has that BKB still. They want to go on one of these supports. They're going to be chasing these supports down. Sniper on the side, just bringing Lynx down. The uphill miss almost saves Medusa's life, but she goes down at the very end. To Lumix. They actually find the Disruptor. The Juice is here now, just ults in, finds the Sniper. Ooh, something canceled the Omni Slash. Not sure if Invoker had no D-Staff or what. I'll check later. Nice bushwhack. Actually, it was a Swift Slash as the full Omni comes out now. They bring down the Sniper. Actually, the Aegis went down before, so Sniper is now dead in this fight. Medusa did buy back. She's going to be trying to right-click these heroes, canceling Blinks. They get the Gleipnir off onto Hoodwink. Charge coming in, but Roxy just so fast on that Hoodwink, able to run away. As it seems like Dire want to get out of here. They get the call off onto Primal Beast. They might find more here. They have the Shivas. Silencer low ground. They have ways to cancel Blinks, but Lumix blinks forward, does the combo off onto Silencer. Nice double kill for Lumix. They're going to find the Medusa next. As Juggernaut is just farming on the side. He's not interested in these fights, not even with the Swift Slash. And finally comes in, Blink Qs after all of his team is dead. Gets the buyback from Primal. And they're going to drop the spell onto Axe, but that's not really the hero you need to go on. Juggernaut really wants to Swift Slash. Anything. Spinning in. Axe chasing down the Primal in the base. We're going to keep an eye on Jug, as this Jug is very important to the victory condition for Dire. And the Juice is just basically making space for Beefarmer to get out of there. Alright. That was a big fight. I missed the first bit of it because we were following that Jug. But Disruptor used ult. I didn't see where the Static Storm landed. I don't think it was particularly effective. They got two kills off onto Winks. And actually Raiden are right back at it. They want to go high ground. They have dieback Medusa. Winks actually pops his combo a little bit early. Has to walk forward. Primal's going to go in with BKB. Has the pulverized, but Lynx is just gonna Silver Edge out of there. There's no follow-up. Jug nowhere in sight as the Axe is gonna find the Dark Willow, follow up the Cataclysm. There it is. Juice in the back trying to find the Sniper. But Sniper has created distance and is just gonna start right-clicking. Axe now gets the call off on Jug. That's gonna be a dead Juice. Ooh, gets the full Omni off. Actually kills the Invoker. That's huge. Gets the Swift Slash off. Spin in 5, has to stay alive for just long enough, but the Bushwhack from Hell gets 2 of them. Roxy on point with those Bushwhacks all game. And Medusa will respond. They do have buybacks on Jug and Dark Willow. But the racks are falling. Bottom racks is also falling 2 creeps. They gotta be careful about that. Winx wants to end the game, starts right-clicking these Radiant buildings in the mid lane as Axe looks for more, goes on Old Man. Just really trying to bait out those, oh no, Winx, oh, Silencer, why'd you right click? Yeah, Axe has that Fear Cloak and Blade now. So very thorny hero to deal with, gets that kill on the Silencer. They have buybacks on the, on Jug and Silencer, so I'm not sure what they're waiting for. Like, you're waiting for your tier 4s to fall? You're waiting for Dark Willow to respawn? What's the play here? Yeah, that was it. They were hoping for that Gorgon's Grass to land, but does not. They get the Bramble out. Jug is going to blink forward, gets the Insta-Bash, but he's going to blink right into a Static Storm. Actually cuts on the edge of it, able to press Q and just run away. Medusa Stone Gazes, probably defensively as she was very low mana. But Shrewd will take advantage of that, blinking on the Medusa, getting her very low. Trying to keep an eye on the sides of the fight here. Lynx gets Force Staffed away. We're going to follow the Juggernaut as he's going to get Bushwhacked once again, spins up, dies, die back Juggernaut. Bodwink trying to do anything here as Dax is still being a menace in the base. Just going to TP out of there. Is able to TP out of there. Axe was unable to get the Medusa, but that Juggernaut is dead. And the Ancient is exposed. Do you have the damage to kill this Sniper? As we have a pause. I'm not sure why we're pausing. Because Juggernaut is diebacked. I guess you want the player to make some calls, but we got DC actually. True, true. They're going to wait for the Juggernaut to come back, but I think the writing's on the wall here. The only play they have is if this Dark Willow is able to... Hi, Nenny. Oh, hey. The only play is if Dark Willow is able to hit this Sniper over and over. We'll unpause while he's DC since he has long cooldown, yeah. Linux not taking any time to hesitate, just goes in immediately on the Medusa who uses that, but the problem is your Ancient's dying, guys. Winx is just hitting the throne, it's half HP. Winx will finally stop hitting it, but goes right back out at it. Primal's doing his best to just try and slow this down. Ancient at 300 HP. One more hit will do it. Winx gets that last kill. As Savage Sabres take the 2-0 dub on Last of Us. Excellent showing by Graphics' team. Let's take a look at the 10 minutes here. So, I mean, mid lane, I felt like the Invoker had... Yeah, Invoker kind of won the mid lane. The Sniper Medusa pairing, or I guess the Sniper Jug. The 1s also favoring Radiant, and the 3s also favoring... Yeah, so the Radiant came out of laning phase very strong. The Dark Willow did a lot to keep Last of Us in that game with those individual plays. Hero just outputted so much damage, like almost top hero damage just behind the Primal. And a lot of that damage from the Primal came out in the last couple minutes of the game. But yeah, just like a very nice sniper pick. Radiant knew exactly what kind of game they wanted to play. They just wanted to hit a timing, and they wanted to hit buildings, and they wanted to force Last of Us to start fights. with their lack of fight heroes. It did go pretty late into the game, so Jug was able to get Blink Dagger. Primal was able to get BKB. And then you have that Global Silence on top of that. So you are able to execute fights. But in the end, the superior team fighting ability of Savage Sabres just really showed. Shrewd having another great game on Axe. The support pairing from Graphics and Roxy Reserve really just dampened Beefhunter's ability to play in the early game. And that's like the hero, like your only playmaking hero on this team. Like the Hoodwink can play, but you really need Blink Dagger to play. I'm curious to know why they didn't go Blink Dagger. I'm pretty sure Blink is pretty cool on Dark Willows. Yeah, so Savage Sabre got that early game advantage. It kind of stalled out a bit as Last of Us scored some mid-game victories, but in the end, it was just too hard to overcome that sniper with alacrity. Anyway, that was AD2L Season 45. Group stage game between Savage Sabres and The Last of Us. I've been Munchlaw. Thank you everybody for watching. Great series. Hope you have an excellent evening.